my mind next week. But honestly, I was a little distracted doing other things, depending on what you guys do today. There is, sadly, no Peyton this evening, so you guys will have to go without his awesome machete help. There will be another ask. We have turned off the latency for this evening's game on Twitch, but I will ask that all of you please make sure that you are able to bring up the Twitch, because depending on what you do here, there are certain things that will happen on Twitch that will need your interaction in terms of I couldn't use Roll20 to show you what I wanted to show you in the way that I wanted to show you it, so I circumvented Roll20 and are doing it other ways. So,
okay.
Yeah. So just be aware that at some point we may just kind of... we may at some point kind of transition there. So, anywho, welcome. You guys...
I will say this in response. If you would... I have to keep Twitch paused, like not live streaming, in order to have Discord work properly. So if you give me just like a 2-second warning before you want to show anything on Twitch.
You'll have plenty of warning, don't worry.
Cool.
No worries. There will be a little bit back and forth between when you guys see it still, even though we have the latency thing as low as possible. But it's all good. We'll figure it out. It's new for me. It's new for you. Yeah.
Oh god, I'm just remembering what happened in the last session.
Rad roaches.
Many.
Yeah, does anybody want to do a recap of what happened?
Out of embarrassment, no.
What? Why? You done so good. Everybody was rooting for you at the end.
Yes.
Yes, that.
So, we found an enclave by the looks of it. Disabled some turrets. Can't remember if that was a session before, but disabled some turrets, dismantled some turrets. Killed a bunch of rad roaches. Anders had a bit of an issue making connections playing golf with the rad roaches.
It was hard, okay?
He was more of a football guy growing up. Golf was never a sport.
Yeah. But, eventually he got there, to much applause from the rest of the party.
Good job.
Also, there's these weird terrarium things underneath of us.
Yeah, they're underneath you, sort of. Next to you, existing.
Also, we're all fairly certain there's something bigger than rad roaches down here.
Yes. Behind door number 1. Which we have opted not to observe closely at this point. We're going through doors number 3 through 5.
Are you now? That answers my question of where you guys are going next. The fruit stand is not so fruity as it looks on screen. But you guys demolished those rad roaches. What are you guys doing now?
Well, I mean, I can tell you guys what Ethan's doing right now. Ethan is currently going through some rad roach with shock, and he's PTSDing in this corner over here. Seems like lots of the little buggers have shell-shocked him.
Oh, that's no good.
Hanging out by the putrid fruit.
Could send Bitsworth to spy some more, like higher up and like trying to look down through windows, because there's supposedly more rooms over this way.
If I recall correctly, the windows are frosted, yes?
I thought that was just this.
I'm sorry, which windows are we referring to? Are you talking about...
Were the windows?
Oh my god! Please stop me.
Because I thought these were just the frosted, but like the windows of the doors, were they all frosted? I don't recall offhand.
So for like the whatever you want to call them, the little bedrooms, all the windows are not frosted. The one where you guys fought the rad roaches and whatnot, that had like cracks and dirt and gross and blood. These are definitely not so much frosted, even so much as like condensation, and there's some debris on them. They're very thick looking glass, so that kind of leads to a distortion of whatever you're seeing. But yeah, frosted, whatever, distorted.
Yeah, we could send Bitsworth down, try to buy in the windows. Or we could just go knock on doors.
Just move Mr. Bistworth where you'd like him to go.
Is that what everyone wants to do? I'm not here.
Yeah, might as well.
Sure.
Maybe like up towards the ceiling and peering down at the.
All right, yeah, he's just you send him kind of floating over this away, and then he's kind of over the railing over here, and he's peering inside, and you see this room is
displaying on his TV face. So
1218 is
watch.
showing the Bitsworth cam. You see just a bed. It's kind of tousled, not made at all, but you don't see gobs of blood all over the windows and things like that. As Bitsworth goes by, you
But is it like dusty, or like does it look like recently used? Because like Bitsworth will like pause and like hover in front of the thing a little while.
It looks it doesn't look terribly dusty, but the room does look pretty trash. There isn't much in it. It's a bed and a table. Maybe it looks like there might be some books kind of on the floor, but it looks like it was ransacked and then hasn't been touched for a while. The door is closed as Bitsworth goes by, so you're guessing that maybe, if there's nothing to get in, there's no dust to settle really as much.
Hey, DM. Now that we've filled this place with the sound of gunfire, do I hear anything else moving around us?
You do not.
Okay.
You hear, what do you hear? You can give me a perception. All right, so with a 23, Julie, you're like straining your ears to hear after all that heavy fire that was going on. You hear like a slight humming sound as like a small engine or something is going, some kind of mechanical something. But you don't hear any footsteps or anything like that. Nothing moving in response to what you did.
Okay.
Loading on along.
All right. Bitsworth comes over to this window. Peering into this one, Bitsworth sees a much cleaner room. The other one was kind of ransacked. There was stuff all over. The bed was kind of tousled. This one, the bed is made. There are no books or overturned tables. There is actually a computer desk sitting in the corner of the room. And even the window on this looks like strangely clean. The other one wasn't terribly dirty. There's some grime on the outside, but this one looks like it was like wiped down outside and in.
Is Bitsworth able to open the door?
As Bitsworth is going by, this door, just like all the others, doesn't seem to have like a handle per se. It does have like this cylinder at the very top of the door that kind of has a little blinking like sensor on it. But when Bitsworth goes by, it doesn't seem to react.
Anyone want to go check that out?
If you want to roll
Float on.
to find out why you aren't like setting off, because when you guys walked by that first one, the door kind of wanted to open, but when Bitsworth went by this one, if you want to roll something, you can do an Arcana or investigation.
Yes. My Arcana for technology is
Superb. Yeah, with a 14, yeah, it's you you had a great idea a while back. If they had just manufactured your sticker idea of more meat bags required, you would guess that this door would need that sticker.
more meat bags required. So he's not gonna be able to open the door. We'll send Bitsworth down, but we'll ask everybody else if there's you want to check out the computer. I'll need help getting in.
Bishop will gladly start moving up. Pushing by Anders.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
Nope, Anders is going in tandem with you.
Fair enough. Either way, he's moving up.
Yeah, that broom smells real ripe as you go past it. And you see all the things displayed previously on the Bitsworth, RCTV. And you hear the door, the sensor clicks, and you hear a psh as it kind of slides over to open as you guys get in front of it.
My bad, it's at the ready.
I do have my shotgun in my hand.
All right. Yeah, so you both kind of tandem saunter up to the door, shotgun at hand, maybe bat in hand. As you kind of walk in, the door kind of stays open as long as Anders is staying in front of it. And you walk in, Bishop, and you see a computer screen. Looking around this room at a closer view, it is immaculate. There's no dust. There's no dirt. There's even a little trash can next to the computer desk there. There's nothing in it.
Looking up, is there any kind of ventilation system in this room?
Yeah.
Air scrubbers?
Yep, there's a small vent, and I don't know if any of you guys made it into the other rooms exactly. But yeah, there's a small vent that's kind of above the pillow area of the bed. Kind of like a bathroom vent size.
Gotcha. Am I noticing any interesting lights coming from that vent at all?
No, there are no lights. You do, if you stand on the bed and want to put your hand up there, you feel a small, push out of air coming from there.
All right, computer terminal. Click, 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 click.
Are you trying to turn it on?
On and access.
It's one of those fancy ones where you just yell at it, and it does what you want. So you walk up and you start kind of punching buttons, and this is one of those moments where I'm going to need you guys to tune in to the Twitch. Por favor.
Yep, let me unmute it.
Okay. So, Bishop, you stand in front of the computer screen, and you're kind of like, all right, I got this. Knuckles crack. And you start pushing the buttons, and you hear. And see what is on the screen.
Oh, dear goodness.
Now, this is the best I could do as far as making it interactive enough. You guys tell me what you want to enter, and I will be your cursor, basically. Athy, I think maybe you've had some experience with these, I'm not sure. But if not, since you're the expert, Bishop, would you like to kind of explain how these work? Expert computer person?
Freaking terminals. Anyhow, so these are bypass attempts, basically at guessing the password. There are other commands in there that you can enter in order to remove duds, replenish attempts.
So, for those of you familiar with this from the other games, there is the possibility of being locked out. For those of you familiar with Fallout 76 and the way it works, I believe that is just like a timer, like, come back later and I'll probably let you do it, kind of thing. This has a lockout, at which point we will move to a more, let's see if you can pass the absurdly high DC now for hacking into it.
Okay, well, we're going to do what I normally do.
First word, start matching.
So I am going to click on Hurtless. Or Hurdles, I should say.
Is that your final answer?
I'm going to select that one, yes.
3 attempts left.
Yep. We are going to go with... Give me one moment.
It's okay. While you're doing that, I'm going to describe something else that, Anders, you see as you're entering in the room and you're kind of like, wow, a computer. I have no idea if your character is experienced with those or not. But, yeah, a computer that works. And the desk, it has a notebook and a pen. Nothing written on it that you can see, but it is kind of to the side of the computer monitor. And on top of the monitor, you see a stack of holotapes. They have labels on them, but right now the labels are blank. There are 3.
Okay.
Interesting.
Your fancy wrist device has a spot for holotapes.
I figured it would.
Uh-huh. Useless piece of junk that it has been lately.
What is that, Perfless? On the 3872 line. Yeah, that one.
Alrighty. Alright. So, you see a brief screen here. And then please bear with me. I'm trying to make this work. After that...
Whoa.
After that screen, you see this pop up.
Okay, I need to make notes.
Oh, I thought the loading message was the actual message that popped up.
It's just a funny loading screen message. You know, like a
I thought you were
screensaver.
like actually dicking with us, and I was about to get slightly up.
Okay, we're going to start going oldest to newest.
Alright, so you're clicking on the very first entry?
Yes.
Okay. So what you guys see next is... followed by this.
Looking around, do any of the holotapes look like they're unused? Or would I be overwriting stuff?
They are, they don't look, they have labels on them. Nothing's written on any of the labels. So they look pretty relatively unused.
I'm gonna pop one in and hit yes.
Alrighty. You pop one in, and you hit yes. And then you are taken back to Burp.
And it makes it.
You hear like a kind of like a tape rewind sound, and then it spits out the holotape and returns you to the screen.
I've got a question in terms of counting things. Are there as many holotapes as there are journal entries? Are there at least as many holotapes as there are journal entries?
There are not. So, including the one that is now pooping out of the computer, there are 2 others stacked on top of the monitor. So there are a total of 3. And it seems like, just like the old crappy floppy disks, they seem to hold not so much.
I'm gonna take the one that popped out and toss it to Anders.
Yeah, I was gonna say, hey, here, maybe I can click, clack, snap, close.
Click, clack, snap closed. As Bishop, you stare at the rest of the log. Anders, your mostly unused little speakers on your wrist kind of crackle a little bit. And you hear... July 7th, 2077. After some regrettable delays, the initializing of the remaining secondary systems has finished, and I'm pleased to report that the test run we've performed turned out highly satisfactory. The gain from the geothermal system is even higher than we anticipated, and the converters are running at peak efficiency, providing more than enough power for the entire complex. As per our instructions, the self-sufficiency of the biocenter is a top priority. Mr. Gibbons, who will be joining us in the capacity of chief engineer, expressed concerns about the reliability of the water purification station, but I see no cause for alarm. The quality of the nearby lake we are pumping up through the groundwater is such that I honestly can't see a need for a water purification installation in the first place. Once our climate control mechanisms are stable, we will begin moving in the last of the specimen. And you hear that familiar click, rewind sound, and it happily spits out the tape.
Could I hear that from where I am?
Where the heck is Julie? Hold on. Probably not, no. Unless, Anders, you have some kind of strange boosting supply. You could probably hear that, like, Anders did a thing with his wrist, he put it in, and then a voice you don't recognize kind of started mumbling, but you don't hear it in, like, great detail.
Okay.
And to answer your questions, yes, you guys will get all of the verbiage detailed, like, typed out later, but just not right this second. For everything that you listen to, anyway.
Cool.
I am still taking my own notes on what I hear. I feel like Anders actually did physically grab that pen and paper, checked if it worked, and, like, started jotting things down.
Yeah, then you guys have an exact record even sooner, which I will get you access to.
Well, no, I'm not like, transcribing it word for word. I'm just like, Mr. Gibbons, chief engineer, water purification specimen.
Geothermals.
Fuck geothermals. It's not pertinent information. There's a specimen. We have a dude's name. This place is designed for water purification. And there's some specimen somewhere. Probably that big fuck off tank. Anyway, next log.
Yep, next log.
Starting to itch.
Are you guys grabbing a new tape or using the same one?
If it requires a new tape or requires a hollow tape.
Let's use a new tape and just like cycle out the ones as we run out.
Yeah, there are
rotate our saves.
There are a couple of entries here that you will that don't require the holotape, but you're going to get the majority of them be that answer for you.
Okay.
All right, so going next in order, rewriting over the last?
Yep, top to bottom. And
all right.
This is going on a new holotape.
All right, yeah, you guys see the temporary thing, and then it yums and then spits that tape out. Anders, you pop it in. You guys are maybe suddenly reminded of the fact that, God, technology takes a while. Why is this so labor intensive? Where's my Walkman? All right, and then...
Actually, while that one's downloading, I'm going to look back at 1218. Any way for you to just download all of this?
Mods. Like, can he plug into a computer?
You can probably interface with them, but it would probably be a very high roll to be able to display, because there seems to be some kind of error. So if you can computer speak well enough to this computer, you may be able to display the information instead of this back and forth holotape stuff.
That was his language, his programming. So what would I roll for that?
It would be more of your special arcana, I would think. Computer speak.
Is anyone helping? Or is...
I mean, if it's possible for me to help, then...
Yeah, I don't know that anybody else would be able to help you computer speak to it. I'm trying to think of, like, if there's a way to give advantage, but I don't see one. This being a whole
like,
different...
because this is a matter of, like, getting wires and plugging in and trying to...
Yeah, you're like, hold on, let me get in there. You turn the tower around, and you're unplugging things and plugging other stuff in.
Oh wow, 3 HDMI ports.
20.
I would say, I would say that, yes, we will give you access to them. However, I will give you guys... Okay, so yeah, with the 20, you definitely can access all of them. The way that we can proceed via the game with this are two different ways. We can have you read through all of them via, like, just giving you guys a handout, and it'll be awkward and quiet on the stream for a while you guys kind of read. Or we can read through it, like, one by one. Or, which would also be kind of awkward to just, like, info dump on you guys. Or the last option is 1218 yums the information and kind of, at any time can plug into Anders' little speaker system, and at any point in time, you guys can choose to listen to one of those readings.
I would just like to
as you
listen
kind
to
of
the
like
last one.
as you guys kind of explore. So, like, if you want to keep moving, but at any point you're like, maybe one of these bastards will tell me something. So Julie has selected number last.
I just want to listen to the last one because the date difference is so extreme.
I want to listen to the second to last one and then
the
last one. Because I care very little for how we got to the end. I want to know also, well, I do care a bunch how we get to the end of this particular tiny story, but I also want to see the journey. So I kind of want to go through all of them, as lengthy as that may end up being.
1218 would want to go through all of them.
Maybe we get the handouts for September 12th through November 8th And we just listened to the last two. So that we're not sitting here reading.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, why not?
And 1218 would unplug from the computer and come over and then rig himself, plug him into the Pet Boy.
Just putting his ports and everything.
So, so we're going
Jury
to.
rig.
So we're gonna do this so that you guys aren't like free access at all times. 1218. Anytime that you are standing directly next to Anders, you guys will have access to the document. Otherwise,
I figured
not
that
so much.
he has to plug into the thing.
Right. So as far as what you gained from that, you don't need any of the holotapes anymore. The only thing is the very last file that you got is it came out 1218 as a little corrupted. So you're not quite sure exactly how much of it you received.
I have a question.
What's up?
Can the Pip-Boy be used to record holotapes?
I don't see why. I don't know that they would have a microphone per se. Huh.
I take
So
all the
I think
holotapes.
I think it could record. It may have a small microphone. Whether or not that has been damaged in your travels is a different matter.
Interesting. Yeah, I never even thought about that. I would think that they would have a microphone.
I still take all the holotapes.
They're like, it doesn't matter. It's not going to change what I do. I was just curious. All right, you have all the holotapes. So on one of
And
the
I
holotapes.
will say the next time we take a short rest, I will figure out whether or not I can record onto these holotapes. And then, separate from the game, I'm going to figure out if and when I record something onto these holotapes. I'm not going to waste too much time.
But I have tapes. Yeah, it was like that moment in Fallout 76 where I'm like, wow, they let you grab all the holotapes you want. And I'm like, what can I do with these? And it's like, nothing. Oh. Well, damn it. All right, yeah.
Developers not paying attention to the things they're putting in the game.
Son of a bitch, that had such possibilities. You bastards. Okay, so.
I was gonna say, was there anything else on the computer we wanted to look at? Like a back menu?
Oh, thanks for the raid, Kaora. You guys didn't actually get any other, like, menus or anything like that. As soon as, Bishop, you logged in, it went straight to the main, page that you saw, the journal entries for the administrator.
Gotcha.
Would it take too long for 1218 to gut the computer for parts?
I'm guessing, I mean, considering you're made of computer parts and that's made of computer parts, if you want to tear this thing apart, you are more than welcome to do so.
And I will be glad to assist.
Ooh. Which tools is that?
Mechanic tools with assistance from Bishop, who's like, no, this cords goes here. Which you really didn't even need help. Yeah, it takes, I'd say all in all, it takes probably about like a half an hour for you to kind of tidy it all up and pack it all away. I assume you're putting it in your little, metal tummy pouch area.
What will fit?
Yeah, you're like, I have 3 of these power cords, I don't need one of these. But, yeah, you got that guy, and he is now in yours. The room looks not nearly as tidy as it once was.
Alas and woe. So over here, was this a wall? Or can we move this way?
You can absolutely see a little bit more than what you see right now. As you guys head out of that room.
Can I just once over the room to see if there's anything hidden, like under the bed or beyond the desk or something?
Yeah, give me an investigation. Go for it.
And I guess like in that half hour while 1218 and Bishop are pulling things apart, that could play the two things we wanted to hear.
Yeah, you're kind of tossing around the room, Julie, and you don't see much of anything else of interest. There's a few books that seem to have like as you're flipping through them, there's some notes scribbled along the side, but it's very illegible, almost like scratchy writing looking. It's very strange, but nothing that you really can tell.
Okay.
And as you
that's more blood. That's wonderful.
Oh, I'm sure that's just Kool-Aid. Don't pay attention down there. You can't see down there, really. Not yet. Totally. It just looks bad. That is a door, by the way. This right here is a handle on a door, and you do see something on the floor. But let's discuss the holotapes, and then we will handle you guys kind of moving on down the way. So you want to play... So you guys wanted to play the second to last and the very last one, correct?
Yes.
Alrighty. Thanks for the cheer, Casey. I don't have a cool hype cup on this one, sorry. It's just cool Fallout sounds for people listening on Twitch. Alrighty. Okay, so the second to last holotape, you pop it in, Anders, and you kind of hear this static at the beginning, and you hear a warble at the very beginning as it reads, November 22nd, 2077. And it kind of gets a little clearer now. It's been 2 weeks without word from the outside. Nothing from leadership or the other biocenters. Not even from the cowards that ran out of their work. The others are looking to me for guidance. The idea was proposed, but I just don't think it would be wise to go after the others. If something truly has happened on the surface, then the biocenter is the safest place to be right now. I do expect we'll hear from leadership soon, though. Whether by comm or through other biocenters, they will find out the others left soon enough, I'm sure of it. They always seem to find out these things. And then you hear the rewind sound and the tape pops out.
I want to. Would I just intrinsically know the date where the world went to hell, since I was there when it happened?
October 20. It's 2077. I want to say it's the 20.
Late October 2077.
Yeah, I believe it's the 23rd or the 22nd of October in 2077.
Yeah, it just didn't hit him until just then that they were here when the bombs dropped. They were here when the bombs fell. Oh God.
Yeah, and as those pieces kind of click into place, yeah, date-wise, that definitely lines up, Anders, for what you remember. Were you guys actively staying where you were and listening to these holotapes, or were you kind of moving along and listening? I don't remember what our layout was here.
As the pieces kind of get put together for Anders, he's gonna stop moving.
Yeah, and I would have moved out of the room and listened to all of that whenever we were done disassembling the computer.
Parts. Bishop, on on glance from what 1218 was breaking apart and what you were going with too, it looks like there might be a couple of pieces that you don't remember seeing on your previously disassembled wall turrets, but that could functionally be of assistance. So you think you've made some good strides here.
Cool. Would I recognize what this piece is?
So what you're looking at is a sort of capacitor between what you believe would be the energy source and the output of the weapon. So even if it's not particularly designed for that piece, it definitely would amplify in some way the results of said rifle or said output.
Awesome. And
All right. You guys are also kind of listening to the other tape, yes?
Yeah, last tape.
Cool. All right. So at the beginning of popping this tape in, Anders, you hear, if you guys remember what like the sound used to sound like when you would pop a cassette, probably not. I mean, think of how old you are. Popping a cassette tape into a cassette player and it eating it, or like a VCR. Yeah.
I know that sound
very vividly.
It sounds awful and terrifying, and you're like, wait. It's trying so hard to work. So you hear a voice.
No, not my Hansen tape.
Bob, no. You hear a female voice. It starts to kind of crackle and peter out like that. But as your Pip-Boy is trying to make it work, you maybe dial in on something. You're like, no. If I just turn this knob, you are able to pick up a few bits and pieces of it. You hear the date, March 10th, 2101. And then you hear a female voice. She sounds kind of young. He tried it on tonight and the helmet works. I can't believe it. I'm not alone anymore. The first conversation that I've had in so many years. I might not need to write in here any much. At least the other entries are hidden from him on the other terminal. Everyone else was wrong. So wrong. He feels just like we do. I told him that if he ever wants to...
no point. Error exception. String too long. And that ends what you hear at this moment. It comes across as more silence. And as you glance down at your Pip-Boy, it's not playing anything else.
So you guys are getting access to the handout. If we see Anders in 1218 kind of, like if you guys enter combat basically, or if you guys are separated for some reason, that is when we will kind of turn off access to it. But yeah, you guys have access to everything from November 22nd and up. March 10th We will, Anders, give me a d20. We'll see how much you're able to... Okay, Anders, you're able to get the date, and you're able to get, he tried on the helmet and it works. So we'll add that to your list of what you're able to recover. In 1218, you basically have a whole nother computer inside your tummy. So if you ever want to rebuild, you're guessing it might take a bit longer than it did to dismantle to put it back together. But it's possible. What are you guys doing? And the silence continues.
I'm looking something up.
Yeah.
As they all read silently, question mark?
Yeah, I know.
And yeah,
1218 said that they needed to be BRB for a moment.
1218's in standby. All right.
They are parsing information.
That's okay. I mean, if we're waiting on 1218 to get back, I can just continue to read the other entries, assuming you guys would naturally want to listen to them until 1218 gets back, and you guys can tell me to shut up. Mostly because, it's not very entertaining for the stream to hear you guys reading. And for our video purposes later.
or not hear us reading.
Not hear you reading, yes. Unless somebody else wants to read one of them. I mean, who wants to read? Raise your hand.
I actually would like to raise my hand for that.
Great, please do. Are you going in order? Just tell me the date.
I'm gonna flex my my voice acting muscles for you all. Give me, what do you want this guy to sound like? You want nerdy? Do you want him to be like old and kooky? Do you want him to have like a British accent maybe?
He can have an accent if he'd like. He doesn't need to. But he is older, and he's a kind of crotchety.
Meanwhile, Julie's just in the back, kind of looking around, while eyes just on a swivel, and nervously singing to herself. Too bad for the running man, 'cause he waited too long so he can't come back. Too bad for the running man, 'cause I'm waiting right here to help that girl forget. You're welcome, Cassie.
Who's Cassie?
Casey.
Cassie or Casey, whatever. All right, so you've got the
He
plus
said
10.
musical number.
However, Casey, you have to actually buy that. It's exclamation point redeem, and then musical number, sir. Spend your points, damn it.
Did I just sing for nothing?
A little
I
bit, but that's
tricked
okay.
you a little bit.
I'm not happy.
But you got your plus 10. I assume Casey's good for purchasing things, so if not, I'll just remove the fucking things from his thing. It's all... There we go. Did it work? There we go. Huzzah, he bought it.
Who's that?
All right, give me some entries. Read.
September 12th, 2077. It's official. Biocenter number 4 is fully operational, and with the arrival of Dr. Carlin, the staff transfer is complete. We sealed the access doors and cut off contact with the outside. Today marks the official start of Biocenter number 4's research mission regarding the adaptability of agricultural flora to alternative environments. There was a rumor that the event of sealing the doors would have been marked by a visit from leadership or something, but alas, there was no such representation. As we finally move into a routine of work, I am in awe of just how important the work is that we are doing here. Being selected for this project is the best thing that ever happened to Grace and I, and I'm just thankful we are safe down here and are able to continue our work for decades to come, together. Who knows? Maybe we will even start a family. Grace agrees that a bunch of little footsteps running across the bridge wouldn't be the worst sound in the world.
Okay, I'm
October
geeking the
20
fuck out. This is so fun. Sorry. Continue.
October 23rd, 2077. Observed two large flashes in the surrounding area. Monitoring their residually fading light, it ended up spanning a period of approximately 2 hours. Near the initial point of light, there was a shaking of the earth, felt in all areas of the biocenter, that was admittedly a bit unnerving, but nothing outside of what the drills prepared us for. With that, there was a bit of dirt and debris that fell, and the power to the containment cells below fluctuated as a result. However, after a brief restart, we were able to regain the power to the cells. Luckily, no one was doing any reads inside the experiments at the time, because the locking mechanisms were engaged for over 6 hours. We'll have to take more cautions in the future when going down for readings in case this happens again.
Boy.
October 26th, 2077. More flashes appeared on the scanners today, but they looked much smaller than the previous incident, and they seemed to follow a pattern of some kind, dancing back and forth on the screen. We felt slight ground shaking with each flash, which leads me to believe there is some sort of large-scale fighting taking place on the surface. Though we remain unharmed by the surface events, a measure of panic has broken out among the staff. They worry that word got out of our work and that someone is looking for us. Naturally, I tried my best to talk some sense into them, but Dr. Carlin and Mr. Riley especially remained obstinate. I had forbidden them to contact the rig for news, which they were both very unhappy with. Worth mentioning, Mr. Riley seems to be prone to aggressive outbursts, and I fear we may need to place him under temporary confinement if he continues to be unable to control himself. Let us hope it does not come to that. I had hoped men and women of science to be more reasonable. The whole thing is absurd. If the rig was really looking for us, then they have other ways of contacting us. If it's a hostile of some kind, then they will never find us, let alone reach us. We followed the security plan exactly, and the entrance blends in with the rest of the forest. Considered reaching out to the other biocenters to see what they have experienced, but I refuse to acknowledge that asshole Stockton that I'm having trouble with the staff here. On a personal note, suffering from a splitting headache again. At times, the pain renders me almost unable to think. At this rate, we'll go through the meds quickly. Need to find an alternative solution. Grace seems to think she's found a solution in a salve she's made from crushing up some of the flowers in Experiment 3, but God, do those plants stink. October 30th, 2077. I have drafted an official disciplinary complaint against both Dr. Carlin and Mr. Riley. Surreptitiously, and despite my expressly forbidding it, they tried to make contact with the outside after the rest of the staff had retired for the night. I was told that once they were caught by Mr. Gibbons, they proceeded to cause quite an upset after they were unable to make contact via any means at our disposal. I am at a loss for how to proceed. The rest of the staff as well seems increasingly reluctant to adhere to agreed-upon protocol. In my opinion, the cause of the communication failure is simply the result of atmospheric disturbance, which makes sense given the intense electromagnetic anomalies we've been witnessing, though my theory was poorly received by the staff. On a more positive note, Grace has confirmed with Dr. Takara that she is 6 weeks pregnant. She is elated to have an answer to why she's been so ill lately. This also couldn't have come at a better time. The rig will be pleased to know that there is confirmation of the start of the next stage of the community in Biosphere number 4. I wonder if we're the first. November 2nd, 2077. In yet another heated argument which led to a physical altercation, Mr. Gibbons was struck down by Mr. Riley. Mr. Gibbons has been diagnosed with severe trauma to the head, but Dr. Takar says he will recover in time. I have officially placed Mr. Riley under confinement, where he will remain until he is able to show a more stable temperament. The staff is openly discussing unsealing the biocenter doors and going out to investigate what is happening on the surface. I have told them that I won't allow it. Under my supervision, Biocenter number 4 will not fail in its assigned tasks and possibly jeopardize the entire project. I will not become the laughing stock of the scientific community on behalf of some ill-conceived, irrational ideas of my subordinates. To my despair, my migraines are getting worse, mind-numbingly so. At a certain moment, my perception and vision even become temporarily impaired. During a particularly bad episode, I lunged aggressively at Grace, briefly, until I realized she wasn't whatever I saw. Luckily, I caught myself before things went too far. We were both shaken, to say the least. I need to go lay down now. November 8th, 2077. Well, they have done it. A large group of the staff escaped in the night, somehow, freeing Mr. Ridley and taking him with them. Only Mr. Gibbons, still confined to the infirmary, Dr. Takara, Finch, and Grace remain. Woke up to find their rooms empty and the med cabinet looted of well over half the contents. At least they left us something, I suppose. Dr. Takara and Grace are still doing a full inventory sweep of what else they took. Looks like so far they have some of the fruit from Experiment 2 with them, but they did leave Experiment 1 intact. Even they aren't that stupid, I guess. As it was ultimately mine to drink the bitter cup of responsibility, I spent the day trying to make contact with the rig, but was unable to do so. I even tried to hail the other biocenter's emergency line, and we were able to get a response, but the audio they emitted was just cadenced static. At least we got a response, I guess? Maybe I'll have Fitch see if he can get the audio transmitter to work. With Mr. Gibbons out of commission while he recovers, Fitch is our best bet. We will also need to have him look at the robot Mr. Gibbons altered to fit our needs. It has been malfunctioning, and I do not want to wake up to yet another dead animal carcass in our rec room. Don't even know how it got the animal out of the lab in the first place. Blasted machine.
Thank you for reading that. That was fucking awesome. I was like so glad I'm muted, but that was really cool.
You're welcome.
All right, and with kind of that dialogue all pouring out of 1218 and through 1218 and through Anders, what are you guys looking to do? That's a lot of information to kind of assemble in your heads, and I don't know how you're all processing that.
What is this over here?
So in the near distance, you can see a entryway not occupied by a door. There's a 5-foot step in, and then a short tile, what appears to be a short tile wall, wraps around. It's floor to ceiling in tile as opposed to this more metallic flooring that you've been walking on.
All right. I will start heading around the party just to go to see what's
Nope.
left over here to see.
Nope. Anders will stay in tandem with you.
And as you approach, you can see just past the wall. So basically, you would walk in like this, and then there is a short wall like this. And then as you enter down into the room, just imagine it kind of goes into the wall a little bit. You are confronted by a pair of sinks, a pair of stalls, and what look to be two shower heads above some tiling. It looks like a communal bath restroom.
And that's over here.
Yeah, over there and in through there.
What about
Okay. Experiment time. I'm
down
going to turn on one of the faucets, standing out of the stream of water. Like off to the side, turn one of the faucets, see if the showers work.
Okay. Which faucet do you turn?
The hot one?
Okay. You turn the water, or turn the faucet, and water comes out of the spout.
Doing so, I'm paying attention to Anders' Pip-Boy to see if it starts clicking rapidly.
As the clear water comes out through the spigot, you don't hear any response from Anders' arm. And as you let it sit, a small amount of steam starts to build, and it builds and it starts to apply itself to the mirror next to you. And as you're looking and watching the steam build on the mirror, you see a little ledge with a build made for soap, with a soap bar that is worn down significantly.
Does this have a curtain?
Yeah, it has privacy conventions built in. A curtain, yeah.
I'm going to stick my hand in the water stream.
It's really hot.
Okay, turn on some of
it's
the cold
really hot.
water. Even it out.
It is less hot.
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but it's been a while since I've had a good bath.
Dibs on next. Don't use all the soap.
If I peek into like one of the other shower stalls, is there soap sitting in any of the other ones?
No, you don't see any soap at any other in either of the any other shower head area or next to either of the hand sinks.
Cool. Oh, I'm gonna start stripping down. Bathe. Get all the
burning
dust.
winds.
Yeah, get all the dust and everything off. Tenderly check out any wounds and burn marks that I might have. As I'm doing so, just taking stock.
Okay. Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Like you said, I mean, I don't know how often you'd be able to get a hot shower anywhere.
It's mainly just sitting in a giant metal tub that has a small fire going under it to heat up the water.
Yeah, this is like 100 times better. You don't have to sit in your own filth.
Nice. Cool. Take about 15 minutes doing that.
15 minutes?
Yes.
Fuck you, I'm pulling you out of there after 7.
You're going to get a whole face full of bishop dick then.
Didn't
That's
expect
fine.
that sentence.
That's fine. I'll show you the Ken doll I've got working with me.
Oh, jeez.
There's not enough soap for that, gentlemen. Ugh. All right.
I after like 7 minutes, I'll start like rattling the curtain. Like, come on, fuck you. Now you're just taunting us. It's not fair.
I'm just going to stick the bar of soap out into the like little area around the curtain. Use one of the other ones. There's more than one.
Good point. I go into the stall, shut the curtain, fucking strip.
Yeah. So you do so. You throw off your clothes in anticipation. You pull the curtain around. You go to turn on the spigot, and it comes out, but like a water fixture, not like a fixture that's supposed to give you a shower. So it comes out at, like a little one small stream. And it's super hot, but it's just one small stream.
I even it out with the cold. Yeah, it's still actually a little hotter than what you normal humans would consider comfortable.
Julie, as you kind of hear the arguing happening in the restroom area.
Thank you, Bloodsworn. We will work that in very soon. All of those things.
No.
Oh my
yes!
fucking god! Yes!
Oh my gosh.
I don't think you know what you've just done.
What he keeps doing. Holy crap. Okay. You guys have so many things to find now. 1218, I really hope you're there.
No, she's not.
Oh, noes.
So there's medicine cabinets in this bathroom area, yes? Like the swing out mirror cabinets?
Okay, so bathroom bathroom is putting it mildly. This is like a swing around curtain around a drain hole. But you guys do see down. Well, yeah, you guys can see more. Give second to reveal things. You see over here, another kind of little building, kind of like the restrooms, but you see a wall of lockers, kind of facing you from that direction.
I would like to stealthily approach.
Yeah, Anders is focused on his shower. He's like, he's pouring water onto himself, into himself, out of other parts,
Does this, before I move any further, does this door here look like the sliding auto opening doors?
This big door here?
This
no.
big door right here.
It does not. No, not at all.
It has a handle?
It has a handle. You don't see a sensor of any kind, and it is large and metal.
I'm just gonna kind of hug the wall as I move.
As you get ready to move, I'm gonna move you back. As you get ready to move, as you kind of hear Anders and Bishop bickering on the other side, and 1218 recharging or trying to translate, maybe trying to fix the tail end of the last holotape that you guys were listening to. You hear a as the blue lit up door in front of you opens.
I duck under the railing. Is a solid railing, or is it just like a bar on top of other bars?
It's not solid at all. You can definitely see through it. It's like a top bar and then vertical bars.
Fuck. Nope. I'm gonna back up and fall down and go prone.
And as you hear the brrr and immediately move yourself back,
I'm laying down prone as I was doing that. I
Okay.
just kind of fell prone.
you hear kind of a coming from the door as
Oh,
what appears to be a very large hovering robot with
that
3
door.
eyes encounters, steps out of the door.
does it look like a handy or does it look like a gutsy?
And as it kind of walks out or floats out, you kind of hear this nice booming voice. You're gonna learn how Uncle Sam deals with red.
Fuck!
God damn it.
God fucking damn it! All right, I shoot it.
Anders whips out open the curtain. What the fuck was that? And he's just
I
with a
shoot.
baseball bat.
So as he emerges and says that, if anybody who's outside, not Anders, not Bishop, 1218, if you're back to active status, if you guys can give me perception checks.
Boy,
I think she actually stepped away. I think she's got.
I'm back.
She's
Oh.
because she moved. I didn't know she was.
She drives like a speed demon, so she's back.
He's
oh,
nothing.
sort of, mostly. Zap.
Still getting back. However,
1218, you are actually brought to attention by the booming sound that comes from the door.
Stands up straighter.
And after you hear that loud booming, you can kind of hear underneath it in a whisper, Julie. And who gets to clean up all this blood? Me, that's who.
oh. Oh. Coming from here?
Coming from the same unit, yeah. It's kind of like you hear both at the same time.
Yeah, it's
Oh.
it's also rotating in, like, I'm sure maybe you've at least heard tell of them. It's kind of jerky in its movements a little bit. It's not as fluid as you.
Seen these models before. Oh, okay. I will stand up. This is such a dumb idea. I will stand up and I will put my rifle on my back and I will go, if you'd like help cleaning up the blood, I'm sure we could give you assistance.
Okay, so as you guys hear a boom, and then you hear what sounds like Julie committing ritual suicide outside, what is everybody else doing?
Scrambling to get back in clothes and armor.
Anders is not bothering with that. Anders is naked.
Bishop values his life more than Anders does.
Wait, is Anders finishing his shower, or is he?
I was like, did I miss bath time?
No, he is.
Yes.
He did actually.
You leave and they decide to take a bath. Athy, what have we learned? Oh, and a bunch of drugs were bought on stream.
I
Bunch.
noticed.
I got a lot of
They
drugs.
have not been collected
You
yet.
weren't even
You
gone
still
for like
have
20
time.
minutes, and it just went woo.
Okay.
I am trying to communicate with the robot.
Beep boop, beep boop, boop, beep boop.
So 12:18. What is your immediate response here?
Other than, you said that he stands at attention at the sound of this, like, it doesn't affect him in any other way, right?
No, it
Just
just kind of woke you up from your slightly idle state.
And I think he is going to take out his pistols, like, but not really, just like hold action for if it goes south. Because this seems like a really odd, like, reaction. So I think he's just letting humans be stupid and see what happens.
Okay.
I like how it's gone from like protect the humans to, oh, for fuck's sake.
Well,
Just-
she's
yeah.
not his human yet. He's known her for all of what, like, days?
2
maybe?
days. We're on 2 days.
Wow, 2 days. That's a hefty 2 days. Okay.
So the flying robot here proceeds. One of its eyes kind of tilts at you, Julie, as you say your words.
We've already cleaned up some roaches. We're gonna get rid of the bodies. No one needs to get hurt.
And it continues flying.
Is it revving up a saw or anything?
You can hear something within itself revving up. And you've seen like 3 out of the 4 of its arms as it's floating. You see the 4th arm come out from behind it, and you hear a as some fluid flies out from behind this robot.
Is it shooting that fluid at any particular direction, like the blood, or is it?
It does seem to be shooting it in this direction here. It seems to be misting over this area.
It's got a Windex cannon, everyone. Be careful.
Mm.
I don't have a fucking rag or anything, do I?
And it kind of like gets down a little bit and starts hovering closer to the ground. And it says, "Are you playing games with me, Red?"
And then you see like it's like top eye like kind of jerk back and forth a bunch and say, "Oh yes, let's all beat up on the robot."
I think I've fought this boss before. Is there any nearby in the bathing area cloth, towels, anything?
Yeah. There is exactly 1 towel
Okay.
hanging in the bathing area.
I'm gonna take it.
And
And
this
I'm
more
gonna-
than willingly gives it to you.
I'm going to be slightly disturbed. We'll deal with those feelings later. And slowly approach the robot, offering the towel over.
And as you approach with the towel, not the same eye that had just freaked out a little bit on the side, but a different one kind of eyes at you.
Just wave at it.
A little bit warily. Does seem to like the fact that the towel that you're waving is white.
Do you need some help?
And it kind of it keeps hovering and it keeps cleaning.
I would think at this point Bishop's gotten dressed and has stepped out.
And it kind of keeps looking down at Scrubs and then stops hovering so low, and it booms. This battlefield now belongs to Uncle Sam. And then it doesn't even really look at you, Julie. It kind of just looks through you, and then continues south.
Where the hell did that thing come from?
Julie's just gonna point at the glowing room.
Right then.
Gonna follow it.
And I think I'm going to go to that glowing room.
So I wanna make my way to the lockers. I also don't want to die.
Okay, so some of you are going straight down following Robot. Bishop, you're hanging back and looking at the glowing room. Anders, you're naked?
I'm walking towards the glowing room.
Yes.
Anders.
If I feel like things have calmed down, I will put my clothes back.
Okay, so Anders is taking his sweet time putting his clothes back on.
I imagine Anders just holding his pants, looking at them in the situation, and debating.
Dude, my armor gives me a 16 armor class. It's heavy armor. It'll take me 5 minutes to put it on.
I have a vest.
I'm not just throwing on a pair of blue jeans and rolling up with a baseball bat. I am armed.
I have some blue jeans and a vest.
Well, as you're catching up to them, you could definitely put on your armor.
Is he just continuing to clean?
And as we've kind of figured out where we're going with the rest of this direction here, sort of, mostly, kind of, we're going to take a quick break. We've got Julie following the flying robot. We've got Bishop going towards loud blue doors. 1218, juggling everything, maybe looking at another door. We don't know yet. And Anders taking forever to, finish up.
Will 1218 remember that I was trying to be peaceful with the robot?
Yes. But he's kind of hovering between his two humans, or human and other, and
Human and other.
and is trying to keep a track of both of them.
Well, one of them's staying put, and will join briefly, or in a moment.
As soon as his briefs go on.
No, well after that. Actually, Anders goes commando.
It's not in hide.
Literally nothing to get a zipper caught on.
And on that note, everybody, we'll be back in 5 minutes.
No, sorry, Anders. It only happened the one time.
Anders will refrain from confirming or denying it.
I'm back in 5 to see if Anders gets his clothes on.
Anders will take the time to get his clothes on. Hopefully.
Ajax cleans all bathroom surfaces up to twice as easy, twice as fast.
Use Ajax, the foaming cleanser. Gets things clean just like a whiz. You'll stop paying the elbow tax when you start cleaning with Ajax. So use Ajax, the foaming cleanser. Floats the dirt right down the drain.
Ajax leaves no gritty cleanser scum in tub or sink.
So use Ajax, the foaming cleanser. Floats the dirt right down the drain.
Remember, Colgate's Ajax foams as it cleans.
Ajax cuts grease faster than any other leading cleanser.
Ajax polishes as it cleans. And it smells good, too.
So use Ajax.
Yes, use Ajax. For Ajax cleans all bathroom surfaces up to twice as easy and twice as fast as any other leading cleanser. Get 2 cans, one for the kitchen, one for the bathroom. Ajax, the foaming action cleanser.
The Lone Ranger. A fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger.
This is a story of one of the most mysterious characters to appear in the early days of the West. He was a fabulous individual, a man whose presence brought fear to the lawless and hope to those who wanted to make this frontier land their home. He was known as the Lone Ranger. Before his coming, this new land of the West was a wild, unruly territory into which brave American pioneers moved in covered wagons, on horseback, and afoot. Theirs was a rugged existence, for they not only had to settle and build, they had to fight. Here, beyond the reach of law and order, might was right. The best shot was the best man. Born of necessity in this chaotic period of westward expansion, an organization was developed to combat the evil forces of the times. An organization called the Texas Rangers. Ever on the job of maintaining law and order, 6 Texas Rangers ride alertly across a western landscape. All are courageous, straight-shooting men. At their head is a stranger, a half-breed scout, who one day earlier had appeared at a ranger encampment, suffering from a severe wound.
Have you had your soup today? Campbell's, of course. Campbell's, of course. Well, look, the Campbells are coming. The Campbells are coming, hurrah, hurrah, with soup to delight you wherever you are. Scotch broth is so nourishing, good for you, so heartily delicious and thrifty, too.
Yes, Campbell's Scotch broth is a distinctive soup with a flavor all its own. Your steaming bowl is filled with tender, stick-to-the-ribs vegetables, barley, and lean meat, all simmered in a rich, tasty broth. Scotch broth is especially welcome on days when you're just plain hungry for a really sturdy, satisfying soup. Made for hearty appetites, it has plenty of get-up-and-go, vitamins, proteins, and minerals. And it's so downright delicious, you'll want to serve it often. Have you had your soup today?
There you are, Collins. Nothing to worry about now.
Thanks, Captain. I should worry about a wound. I'm lucky to be alive.
You're right. Very few people are after those outlaws have struck. So they killed everybody at the trading post.
Everyone. Mr. Simpson, his wife, the young Indian helper, even old Pete McHenry.
That's too bad. How about the outlaws? Any of them get shot?
4 of them were in pretty bad shape. They had to be tied to their horses to ride away. I got 2 of them myself.
Too bad you couldn't have hit more of them. Which way did they go?
They rode up north into the Badlands.
That's pretty rough country. But with wounded men in tow, they can't travel very fast. We got a chance to catch them.
But they have a 5-hour start. Even if you overtook them, they outnumber you.
Mister, the Rangers are used to long odds. How about you? You could use your help in locating their trail if you feel strong enough to ride.
I don't need 2 arms to guide a horse. Besides, I have a score to even up, too. I'll go alone.
Good man. Boys, pack 5 days' rations. Got 10 minutes to be in the saddle. Right. Bill, send Captain Reed to me. He's leading your detachment.
Yes, sir.
So came the half-breed Collins, who rides with a detachment of Rangers after the most ruthless outlaw band in the West, the notorious Cavendish Gang.
It's their trail, Reed. Yeah. It indicates they're riding slowly as we figured.
Yes, it does.
Let's go, boys. Gained on them. These tracks can't be more than 3 hours old.
They're heading off into that canyon.
Yeah, it looks that way. Have you been in this vicinity before?
A couple of times.
I think it might be a good idea for us to check that canyon from the rim first.
I'll go ahead and scout the place. One man would be a lot less noticeable than all of us going.
All right. We'll wait here and give the horses a rest. Dismount, men.
Hold it, mister. Reach.
Hello, Whitey.
Oh, it's you. The new man, huh?
Yeah, it's me.
How's the plan going?
All right. The Rangers are back at the canyon entrance.
You think they'll keep on coming?
Sure, why not?
They're pretty smart hombres, you know.
Yeah?
We've tried to get them before. Didn't pan out.
I wasn't with you then. Where's Cavendish?
He's up there a ways. Leave your horse here.
All right.
Click.
Yo.
Click, boom.
Click.
So if I bought a personality for this robot, can I just assign it to one eye?
Like a third personality?
Yes.
Let me read the description, but I don't see why not. Okay. Note to self, that is very vague, Cindy. Please provide the quirks and concepts you would like the NPC to have. Yeah, that's cool. I would think that, let me see the other description of leveling up the NPC. Gets a background. Okay, yeah, give me 2 like quirks
So you
Or
remember the from Fallout 4, the Miss Nanny?
I mean, I've never encountered that, but sure, we can Google foo that. Okay. What are we? Which which personality aspects of that are you looking to exemplify?
I need to remember how this person talked. Oh right, there's 4 of them. Shit. Probably female scientist, Curie like.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, sure. What the fuck? Why not?
You've got gutsy and handy built-in run robot. Let's make this true.
I mean, let's just be clear here. Adding Miss Nanny to the third eye does not come with children to attend to, but yes, absolutely. It thinks that there are, maybe, I guess, or that possibly, depending on how bad this goes, you are. Yeah, right. Because you need 12-18, feel threatened. Because there's somebody else that wants to tend to this group now. Yeah, give me a second while I figure that out. Kyle, go for it.
Okay, so as we return here, Anders has officially been able to put all of the things on that he wants to.
Which is all of my armor. I am fully clothed.
Okay. Bishop is closing in with the blue door of 1218 is playing Oh My God, All My Humans Are Leaving and going different ways, and Julie is following our robot into what looks to be a similar kind of hole in the wall aspect from the previous restroom, but looks like it leads into carpeting as opposed to tile. Anders and Bishop, you may both each roll a d10, and you may expend up to 1 hit die in terms of regaining hit points. As this shower has refreshed you.
So what is the D10 for? Is that basically the hit die that we're expending?
The D10 is free, and then you may expend up to 1 hit die.
Oh, sweet.
I think I will forego expending the hit die, seeing as I only have 1.
Okay. Just, revitalizing shower is revitalizing.
Yes. But yeah, if it's been like 5 minutes for Anders to get his crap on, I'm probably well.
Yeah, you can get acquainted with the door there. Why don't we resolve what Julie sees first, and we'll see if that changes anything, and then we'll bounce back and forth between all 3 of you. As 1218 literally will be doing basically what I'm doing. So, Julie, as you enter, it's got kind of that same fold-around wall that you saw previously. Sorry, I'm moving your token for some reason. And the room is actually fully carpeted. It's a nice deep red. The walls themselves are still that metallic, but they do seem to be adorned with posters. And in front of you are very large and what look to be comfortable chairs. And as you enter into the room a little bit more, you can see a billiards table on your right, and in the back corner of the room, you see the carpet end and turn into more of that padding type of flooring on the ground, accompanied with what look to be some free weights and a treadmill. Across the walls, you can see such famous slogans as "All for one, you are the one," and other such garbage.
You said there were lockers down here somewhere?
Right before you enter, in that kind of hook around wall situation, you can see lockers readily placed.
Do they have padlocks or do they have internal locks?
So they actually, it looks like they had previously had external locks. None of them are locked.
I'm going to look towards the robot and ask if it's okay if I go through these.
As you're kind of, you look in and you assess the room and then you come back to look at the lockers, the robot has flown past you. Getting the red out of red! As it flies into the room and one of its arms kind of turns into a vacuum, and you can hear there's a nice low hum coming from the room.
This is my favorite NPC ever.
The lockers in front of you, none of them are locked. There are 10 lockers in front of you.
I am going to keep my eye on the robot to make sure it doesn't react poorly to me doing this, and start one by one just opening them and looking what's inside.
Yeah, you go through said lockers. What was there? Oh, my Lanta. Twitch chat, where are you? Twitch chat, where are you? I know
there
you're
were
here.
5 jets and 2 mentats that were purchased.
There were 5 jets and 2 mentats. So in those lockers, you find 3 pieces of jet. What looked to be a upper compartment of one of the lockers. Looks like it wasn't factory built in there. It was just hanging out.
Okay.
And then they're right next to and actually inside of what looks to be a lab coat, you find a box of mentats.
If I take the coat, does the robot do anything? Like if I take the coat out of the locker?
So as you take the coat out of the locker, you can see Mr. Hansy. Is that? Oh man, Hansy. That's a terrible name. We're gonna have to change his name. Mr. Hansy. He lifts up his vacuum attachment and he starts vacuuming the billiards table.
Okay. As long as he doesn't stop me, I'm just gonna start taking all the drugs and the lab coat.
Okay, well, you consume 3 jets and 1 mentats. You're gonna have a real
Those
fun
are all
time right
in my
now.
pocket. I am not Anders.
You did choose your wording better.
And also in those lockers, there are a few other items, which I'm going to vamp and create in just a second here, because now there are lockers down there because the stream store bought stuff. So Bishop.
Hi there.
What's
behind
Julie,
door
let me know
number
if you're
1?
doing anything urgent or critical in these situations. But Bishop.
And what's behind door number 1?
Pistol still out at the ready.
Oh, Anders would be way up there.
Oh, okay.
So would have been getting dressed bad at this point still.
we're gonna hand wave that, and we're gonna say Anders can be there and have clothes on because I personally like Anders having clothes on.
Because Anders will choose being there over putting clothes on.
Well, yeah. I mean, we've kind of established that already. So Bishop, you size up this door. It looks like in front of it, there is a very, very slight shimmer, kind of in front of the sliding open parts of this door. The sliding open reminds you very much of a much more heavy-duty version of the room slides that you've seen, and it definitely reminds you of the elevator sliding doors. And it also appears that there's a nice light blue field in front of those doors. Right around here, there is a small access panel.
I'm going to poke at said access panel.
So I should describe that. It has one large, thin slot. The best description that I can give you is it's about the width of an old school floppy, like a 5-inch floppy disk, in about its width. Also, there appears to be simply like a red LED that is currently lit.
Fun. Any exposed screws or anything like that?
A quick glance lets you go when you go down the unit a little bit. There does seem to be not an exposed screw, but a little bit of paneling that could be removable.
Hey, Julie, you happen to find a key card or anything?
Looking.
I mean,
that's a no.
That box of Mentats is kind of roughly the size of what Bishop was talking about.
Yeah.
And Julie, nothing else strikes in the same kind of size proportion.
Cool. Bishop's going to try to pop the panel off the side. See if he can basically
I'm gonna ask
hotwire
the
it.
robot how you get into that door.
You need to specify robots now.
Oh right.
Well,
I'm gonna try to get the attention of the floating robot and point that to the door. Everyone's cluttered around and goes, "What does that lead to?"
The the robot kind of turns to you, and then one of its eyes is kind of looking off towards the other group, and then like you see like a spark come out of that eye as it turns to you and says, "I find myself humming inside. I feel so happy. Happy. This is the word." And it like shorts out again. You see a couple sparks as it kind of turns away from you and starts scrubbing a random spot on the wall.
Do you need someone to look at that eye?
Yep. Popping the panel off.
And I'll turn to them and go, "I think it's a recharging station."
Well, we'll find out one way or the other.
So, I'm sorry, what are you doing, Bishop?
Popping the panel off the side of the thing so I can get access to the internals. Basically, I want to try to hotwire it.
Okay, you're popping the panel off of that?
Mm-hmm.
So when you take that off, there's actually very little in terms of wiring behind what you were expecting kind of like a mass of things connecting. Instead, you see one access port and behind, kind of a little bit behind it by a couple of inches, one exposed wire.
Access port. Interesting. Yeah, 1218. Think you can hook into this thing and bypass it?
I can try.
1218, as you kind of look at what Bishop's working with, can you give me a wisdom-based check? You may pick whichever one you'd want to do, as long as you can explain a gut feeling. Probably insight if you don't have anything else in mind.
Insight. I don't think medicine's gonna help.
Robot medicine.
So anything that looks like this and also has humming light in front of it, you've seen this once before, maybe, and you get a feeling that plugging in may potentially expose you to things coming out. Usually you're able to put up a very good firewall in between the data that you're receiving and any data that you're not requesting. Given the power, the current that you're feeling or seeing even in this area, there's might be a potential for hazard.
He's looking all this stuff over and then looks up at Bishop. It would be very dangerous.
So can you or can't you?
Can you or can't you shove your hand into a bottle of toxic waste?
I can, yes.
Would you?
If needed, yes.
Then you're an idiot. He looks back at the door. I would rather keep myself together. There's chances that I could be taken over again. I can't keep everything out that this hat could have.
And this kind of debate is going to be able to give you guys a little bit of bouncing ideas off of each other brain work. So to think about and combine arguments to look at what you're dealing with here. One can help the other. I will accept whatever check you guys want to throw at me in terms of what kind of security you're looking at here.
And can you give me a description of the inside of it again? It's just the access port and a single wire?
Yeah, there's a access port basically right up in the front, and then behind, further back, there's a wire.
That would probably be Arcana Tech check.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to throw and whoever wants to help who.
I will assist 1218.
19.
So that's going to give you a pretty good assessment of what you're dealing with here. This blue light is definitely electrical current. Probably relatively, it's either high or designed to incapacitate. 1218, it specifically reminds you of the slide that you didn't take. And
it'll hurt.
Yeah, a little bit. And Bishop, this door looks pretty much exactly like the elevator door. It looks like it's designed to withstand breaching. Not impossible, but very difficult.
Hmm.
1218 combined with this, you're also able to, if you plugged yourself into the dummy port, it might be bad. You also could plug something else into the dummy port to try to get a response.
Any of the computer components, or should he rig something together?
What you have and what you can rig could potentially do something in that instance.
So he will jury rig the thing.
Anders, the construction of what you're looking at as they're kind of all hemming and hawing and yelling at each other, it reminds you of not necessarily the build, construction, what it is, but it reminds you of like the security levels that you've heard of in previous vaults in and around critical areas. An armory, a reactor, those type of things.
So whatever's in there is obviously important, yes?
That is what we're going to find out.
No, just be ready for whatever's in there.
I mean, we could always try plugging your Pip-Boy into it.
I suppose that's true.
I mean, what's a little bit more electrical damage to the thing? It hardly works half the time anyhow.
Yeah, that's true. And I'm willing to do that.
Routine will rig that. Is there any way to like? Well, I guess it would be another jury rig thing, but sort of maybe make like a buffer or something, so if it's like too much electricity or something, it won't short circuit the whole. Just try to like protect the machinery a little bit.
So no, you don't have any capacitor that's large enough for that. I mean, potentially either you or Bitsworth could insulate it enough so that if there was some current, it might not damage or permanently damage what's being plugged into it. If you used yourself as conductors.
Like, conduct the energy into a different location.
With what you have in the immediate time frame, that's what you're looking at.
You did mention that I had found a capacitor that could potentially be used to overcharge one of the turrets that I've disassembled. Could that be jury rigged to basically be spliced and flow back into the wire that's further back? Basically, if it tries to do a surge, it'll surge itself.
So theoretically, I mean, that sounds like it makes sense.
It's a thing that happens.
And you think you could maybe get that to work. I mean, it might require some sort of a check.
I can check. I get advantage.
And it almost undoubtedly will consume the component.
That's fine. If the capacitor blows, it blows. It's meant to be a failsafe.
Okay, so you kind of daisy chain some things together here. You kind of get Anders ready to plug in and try to be able to work this door current. You quick wire this capacitor in between the two, so that if it has blowback. So Anders, you go to plug in. You see all of the blue current kind of phase from around the door, and try to flow up through and towards Anders' Pip-Boy. It does bounce at that capacitor and blow back. You don't. The current seems to just travel back up into and through that wiring. Nothing smells funny. Nothing explodes, but there's no light currently in front of this door.
Cool. Does the door open as I approach it?
No.
Wonderful. What do I have? What do I have? I know I have stuff that can be used to potentially pry. It's just a matter of what contains what. So there's no, like, movement sensor or anything.
I'm sorry, there's no movement from the doors?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, nothing. It's not moving immediately. These are doors that kind of join in the middle, in that elevator style. So it looks like they would separate.
Gotcha.
And while you guys are kind of concocting a plan, we're going to cut back over to Julie. And in that cabinet, Julie, you find a small amount of what look to be personal effects. You find a picture. You see a picture of a man in a lab coat, hugging what looks to be a woman, and they both appear to be cradling something wrapped in a blanket. Alongside with that, in a couple of the other coats, you do find some 10mm pistols, which would be considered high caliber autoloaders, I believe, in our 5e context.
Okay.
Um,
I need to find the page for
that. You also see the robot turn towards you and kind of zap its head awkwardly to the side again, and it says, "Stimpaks are a marvelous invention, don't you think?" And it kind of, you're not quite sure where it pulls it from, but it hands you a Stimpak.
I will thank it.
It, like, cocks its head like a little puppy looking at you and then goes back to rubbing that same one spot on the wall.
And as Julie looks like she's talking to the craziest robot ever, you guys have managed to put down some electricity. Have you any follow thoughts about the giant door?
I have a bladed baseball bat. I want to try to wedge the blade in between the doors and use the baseball bat as a lever to pry. Hopefully with some assistance from someone.
Is there ammo for those pistols I found?
I'm going to say that there's clips loaded in. And Anders, I heard a yes.
Yes, I assist.
Okay.
I might even take primary on this.
By all means.
Okay.
Athletics check with advantage.
12-18, do you have any other ideas, arguments about shoving a giant bladed bat at a door?
It's likely inefficient. Is it like a one solid door or like the two opening?
Two opening. It's think elevator doors.
No one has a crowbar?
I don't think that there's a crowbar in
I
any
have a
of my
crowbar.
equipment.
I apparently have a crowbar. It's affixed to him somewhere if someone wants to grab that.
I have a bent fork.
Okay, well, you guys just let me know who's taking front and if we're using the bladed baseball bat, the crowbar, or the bent fork as your leverage.
Why not do the bladed baseball bat and the crowbar? Basically, have 3 people hefting on it as opposed to just 2. If a robot can be considered a person.
And with that batch of racism, whoever would like to give me the athletics check, you'll say make it an advantage, and I will add. If Bishop and 12-18 could just roll me straight charisma checks.
Charisma.
Assuming Anders is taking the front to see how well you two can delegate or be delegated to by Anders.
Yeah. Could I also give inspiration to Anders while doing so?
You go right on ahead.
Cool.
Athy is a robot and takes orders. Bishop has pride.
And you get to add a d6 onto that, Anders.
Hey! 17 is something.
17 is something. So Bishop just barely helps you out enough. Like, he's mostly in the way trying to compliment himself. At the last second, he actually gets out of the way and gives you just a little bit of brain burst.
No. Wedge it in a little further, then pull.
12-18 is anticipating your needs before you need them, and the 3 of you manage to fly the door open.
I grab my own baseball bat and ready myself.
Yep. That bladed baseball bat, I am going to basically stick up near the top of the doors to just kind of wedge it without it being in the way.
Okay.
And long ways between the 2 doors.
Got it. And as you're wedging this door right quickly as it opens, you get this flash of light. This room is extremely well lit. In comparison to the entirety of the rest of the complex. Julie, as you hear them kind of and struggling, as you've flipped through the lockers, and at the last second, you found a nice bag of miscellaneous things at the bottom of a locker, which I can detail the contents of later on.
I'll just put the whole bag in my pack and go see why sounds.
Yeah, you hear 12-18 is also making a strange grunt kind of moving sound, and that's you've never heard a computer do that, so that might get your attention.
Why noise? Why?
And as we shift over, you'll be able to see why.
You guys can kind of see this whole thing, mostly because, it's really bright up here. So, couple things. You guys are coming into this room. There, as soon as you pop open the door, you see what looks to be a landing. Everything's very brightly lit. It's almost shocking how much brighter this room is compared to what you guys have kind of been looking at. This platform here is where you guys are kind of first ushered to as soon as you open the door. And looking at that platform, you also see stairs. They don't go down into a creepy oblivion. They just go down to the floor.
Does the door stay open, or is it going to snap shut once we're not holding it?
Hopefully it stays open, considering that I put a baseball bat in between the two doors to stop it from closing.
Would.
Yeah, I mean, it's still open right now. And it doesn't seem to be doing like that auto try and shut, like clunk, clunk against the baseball bat that you might expect the doors by the rooms to do. So it seems to be staying open.
So we're coming in at the blue rectangle?
Yes, the blue rectangle is the doorway. So the stairs down are, I'm going to say, I don't know, each stair, we'll go with like 15 steps down. So this area, you head down into it, and there isn't too much, when you step on the platform, there isn't too much above your head, maybe like a couple feet max, but as you kind of like, kind of dip your head into it and kind of immerse yourself in the room, it seems massive in here. You're not sure if it's like the glowing light or what, but you are surrounded by things to look at. You see glass panes along every wall that you can see. Across the way, you see a similar looking platform and stairs. You're guessing that would be on the other side. Same kind of stairway, same kind of door. As you guys are kind of taking everything in, you see different light coming from each corner of the room. You can see into the almost terrariums that you were kind of looking at when you were up top. Different color lights, different condensations are on the walls down here from that. Each one clearly separated. You'll see kind of like by a like the black parts on here, on either side, here, 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 and here. It actually seems to separate the walls. So each one seems to be its own separate existing system. Inside this room, it smells like kind of like that robot smelled with the cleaner. It smells like a cleaner spray in here. Very chemically. There is a hum of electricity in this room, not just from the lights, but you can see certain lights and things emitting from each one of these stations here, as well as a blue glow from what looks to be another computer in the very center of the room. You also see a large, standing vertical, about 8 feet tall, metal cylinder over here with a like a glass kind of viewing area. You see a very interesting looking structure in the corner over there, as well as a giant metal cage. This is almost to the ceiling in this place. It's about 6 feet by 6 feet wide, giant metal door with a padlock on it, and what looks to be some kind of dead animal of some sort inside. Not quite sure from where you're at right now.
I have a very pertinent question.
As are most of them, yes.
In-game, what is today's date? It doesn't have to be exact, just kind of give me a month and year.
Yeah, I know the year is 2280. The month, I think we decided we were in the fall.
If the year's 2280, never mind then.
Okay. It was the later part of the year, but yeah. What are you guys doing?
Gonna go poke around at the computers and see what.
Yep. That was my thinking too.
If I have caught up to them as they were struggling and making the grunting noises, I will go over here.
Go around, walk around, go
Yeah.
beep boop, beep boop, beep, beep boop.
Yeah, so you guys, you're like, ooh, more tech. Tap, tap, tap. You start pushing buttons or something, it sounds like.
Also, question about the cage. 'Cause it's so big.
It is ginormous, yes. And I'm sorry that it doesn't look top down. It's,
No, it's fine. It's just the. Does it look like there's another door or like something in the like a way to get that cage in here, or something large enough that would need a cage that big in here?
So in this room, the only thing that looks like, I mean, there is something currently in the cage. As far as how they got it through the door, you're guessing it was one of those, like, buy it from IKEA, build it inside. It lives there until it dies again kind of things. It clearly wasn't very well thought out. It was something that looks to be built once they got it in here. It is very, very basic.
Are you talking about the cage or the animal inside the cage?
Yes. I'm talking about the cage.
The animal is very basic.
Very basic. Well, I mean, it is. It's just basically a pile of some kind of fur and some other kind of gross, fleshy mound. You can't really even tell what kind of animal it is.
It's fur. It's not scales. We're good. It's not a dead death claw.
The only good death claw.
Okay. Was that the end of the...
I mean, we can all fill in the fucking sentence. I don't know.
Sure.
This one that's on your side.
Doesn't look like it could even hold a death claw. This isn't like a cage built to hold people or anything. It's very flimsy. It almost looks like it was built to hold some kind of smaller animals.
I wanted to let you finish that sentence, but Bishop, if you said that out loud, you would have fucking rocked Anders' whole role.
Who said I didn't say that out loud?
Be on our side? What?
Yeah. I've heard room. Go ahead.
I'm playing in a different Fallout game, and we have a party member who's playing a Deathclaw.
What?
All right.
Yeah, I've heard rumors of Deathclaws being able to be tamed, trained, released on your enemies. I mean, you've been around for how many years, and you've never heard of these tales?
I mean, I've heard of them, but I just, not from anybody. I guess trust is appropriate. I trust you.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose I could trust you after that mushroom didn't kill me.
Yeah, and after you didn't kill me on mushrooms.
Though I am pretty sure there was a Deathclaw around our camp that night.
No. No, I doubt it.
Anyhow, I'm going to focus on this computer terminal thing now.
Yeah, let's get back to the task at hand.
Yeah, totally.
I like how that night was last night.
Sure was.
I thought that was 2 nights ago. That was the first night that you joined us.
Nope, that was last night.
Oh, shit.
We have not long rested since then.
Oh, that's a thing.
It's hard to tell time when you're, underground and whatnot with all the fluorescent lighting, but it's about 3, 4-ish in the afternoon.
Especially when one day has taken like 4 weeks now.
Yes.
Yeah.
More
It's been
than
a
that.
long fucking day.
I assume we all turn to 12:18 and like look at the clock displayed at the bottom corner of their screen.
All right. So let's handle a couple things before we go to the computers, because we had a lot of computer today, and you guys have so much to look at on there. Julie, you ran,
I wanted to go see the cage, and then I stopped at the bag of what appears to be googly eyes.
Yes, it's a bag of googly eyes, clearly.
It's a bag of googly eyes.
I kind of hope it's a bag of googly eyes.
They're crafters, clearly, not scientists.
It's a bunch of mentats.
Well, there's children here, so clearly there'd be a reason.
Yeah, you kind of tripped over some wooden blocks over here. What looks to be a stack of just generally useless stuff over here. There's just some empty boxes. There's a watering can on top. Some kids' boxes. This room isn't very clean, like at all. You see some papers over here, Julie, and you are kind of standing near a trash bin with it's overflowing with just garbage, including a first aid bag and what looks to be a bag of some kind of delicious candy.
I would like to inspect both of them, starting with the candy.
Okay, you pick up the bag of candy, and it you're not the first person to pick up this bag of candy. It looks to be kind of like crushed into a powder in the bottom of it. And it is all white. There are no markings on any of this. They're all about the same size, the ones that are intact.
I will open the bag and give a small sniff.
Yes, Julie's going to snort the white powder.
It smells very minty.
Hey, Andis.
What?
I take one of the candies out and I throw it across the room to him.
Please do that thing where you try to catch it in your mouth from a long distance.
It's probably still in the wrapper.
I don't know what he's thrown at me, so no.
So, I'm sorry.
But I will attempt to catch it.
Okay. Roll me a d20, Anders. Since it didn't sound like Julie was, like, digging through to see anything, just kind of looking at it. Yeah, you dive and, like, kind of dip down, position your head. You've done this before with popcorn or something, right? And you catch it, and it's a deliciously minty mint. You feel very refreshed.
I do.
12:18's like eyeing this.
I want to say I specifically did not try to catch it with my mouth.
Oh, you just tried to catch it with your hand?
Yeah, just catch it with my hand.
All right, yeah, you catch it in your hand.
Anders isn't a 12-year-old or real life me.
All right, you, Julie, you toss him a candy, and he catches the candy in his hand. It is crumbly.
I will also eat the candy.
Yeah.
12:18's eyeing both of them suspiciously.
For running into the room and putting the first thing that they find in their mouth, what's wrong with that?
Actually, you know what? I think Bishop would rather be at that one, seeing it's centrally located and has an upright chair.
I will put
ergonomics.
I will put the bag of crumbly mints in my bag.
I've had these before in real life.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I fucking love these things.
They're delicious.
Just let me know when you're eating them. Just, for reasons.
Well, Julie said she popped one in her mouth.
Yeah, you're good. It tastes yummy.
Anders will also do the same.
And minty fresh.
Maybe, give it a minute. Julie eats it and doesn't die. Then I won't get sick.
Julie, go ahead and give me a d20 to see if you die instantly.
Okay.
Mint. It's kind of like melting.
Yum. So one of those mints you get at a diner.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That looks kind of like a marshmallow.
Yes.
Yep.
Fucking love those.
I knew exactly what type she was talking about whenever she was mentioning the white powder. I was like, yep.
This episode brought to you by After Dinner Mints.
And then I will inspect the medical bag.
I will also eat my mint.
All right, yeah, you bend down to inspect the first aid kit that you see at your feet. And it seems to be mostly intact. It seems to be missing one spot where a stim pack would be. But other than that...
I know where that stim pack went.
I
put the stim pack I got from the robot.
It fits perfectly. That little bastard. But yeah, you have what seems to be a full intact first aid kit. And a bag of mints.
I'm very happy.
Getting a closer look, these two tables that you're kind of standing in front of seem to be just very simple tables. They have you can't see it in the little display here, but they have like metal trays. There's a couple of what looks to be like strange scientific equipment, scissors, some kind of knife of some sort. There seems to be some kind of white tape. It's all kind of on each of these tables that you kind of see scattered around the room here.
So, more medical equipment type stuff.
Type stuff, yes. And you ran past this here, which is a very large clipboard on wheels. It is one of those ones that you can kind of like, wheel around, flip over, that kind of thing.
Like the ones they used in classrooms up until the late 90s.
Something like that. You don't see anything on your side of that, though, Julie.
Okay.
Actually, Julie, was it you that picked up the books in the room upstairs?
Probably.
I think it was. Yeah, you don't see anything on your side. Bishop, you see some writing on your side as you were kind of like, this looks interesting. Oh, wait, no, this one has a chair that's upright, and that's less work, so I'll go over here.
Yep.
Ever so slightly less work.
So
anything interesting on that chalkboard?
There is just you can't actually read any of it. It looks like scribbles. True, terrible. It looks like it's in a line, but it's so badly written you can't. It's illegible.
Well,
but it's in
whoever
lines.
was in here writing on that clearly was a doctor.
Possibly. There are what look to be some equation symbols on there as well. Anders, you over here, you are standing in front of a large metal kind of tube. Remind me again which way you took to get to this area. Like, you came from over here.
I would have walked past the big thing. I go around the outside of the computers.
Round the outside, this way, and this side.
Two trailer park ghouls go around the outside.
I feel like we've done this joke once before, too.
I don't know that we have.
More. Need more. Okay, you walk past this. I don't know how.
Anders recently has really had a one-track mind.
So, not at all distracted by the large metal structure here. Not even paying it mind. You go make a beeline for this.
Yes.
You see a large, about 8-foot metal tube with all sorts of strange panels and tubes coming out of the back of it and going into the floor. You're not quite sure exactly where they go from there. But the very front of it has a about 2-foot panel that curves around the front. Inside, you can't really see. It's yellowed and kind of foggy. There's panels along the front, and it seems to be a clipboard hanging off of one edge of it with what looks to be some kind of medical jargon scribbled on it.
Can I make a medicine check to kind of understand it?
Go for it. Yeah,
All of them.
you're kind of digging around. You're looking around it. You're like, gosh, where does that go and what's that? And you're kind of looking at it and almost staring you right in the face. There is a label on the very top of it that just says auto dock.
The chart itself was very basic. You were able to make out, the name, not the name spot being blank. It had the basic form fillables, but other than that.
Okay. But can I make the connection that this thing might be some sort of auto surgeon? Or auto healer? For hit points?
So this isn't necessarily something that you've interacted with or used before. There's obviously robotic advances in the field of feeling better, but there's no how-to for dummies or push button here.
Okay. Is there some sort of latch?
I mean, the door, it can slide wide open. It seems like you can lift and you turn it to the side and kind of unveils itself. A lot like those, that racket of a personal protection shelter right before the war that you used to see on street corners.
Can I get inside of this thing?
Yeah, are you turning the lever for it?
Sure.
Yeah. So you go up and you kind of shunk down the lever, and if you've ever used like those old school big boxy safes where you kind of have to hold the lever down as you pull the door open, the door is very heavy and it kind of creaks a bit as you pull it open, and inside is a horrible smell. It's very kind of damp smelling, unpleasant in general. The window that you could view in has a bit of kind of condensation and dew on it. Smells a little moldy in here, perhaps. Inside you see what looks like a like as if somebody stood a bed upright or something. It's I mean, you've seen these before, but this one doesn't look like it's been very well cared for.
Interesting.
Are you getting in? It looks cozy.
Yeah, I'm gonna climb inside.
Okay.
Anders.
12,
We're focused
18.
on computer terminals right now.
Yeah, you want to play with the adult games, but your kids are shoving food into their mouths and getting into big metal contraptions that are moldy. Anders, you get in, and it's kind of cozy in here. I mean, you've been out in the wilds, and you've slept in some shady places. You feel like you could actually probably get a good nap in here if it was a little cleaner. Feel pretty safe.
Can I close the door?
You sure can. You as you close the door, pulling it shut, you hear a hearty click. And it's kind of quiet. It seems to have blocked out all the other sound. You don't hear any of your companions rustling about anymore. And slowly there's a tink tink sound, and you see a fluorescent bulb kind of light up above you. And looking up, you see all these like medical devices, kind of like dentist-y looking devices hanging above your head. They haven't moved, but they're just menacingly just kind of there. Nothing seems to move besides that light turning on, though.
Any buttons or switches inside?
There are no... Everything's smooth. I mean, aside from the bed and everything and the dangerous tools hanging above you, there are no fun buttons or switches or anything like that.
All right. Can I get out?
You can get out.
I was hoping you would say no. Because of the whole way you described the door having to be open.
You can get out. I mean, there's not... The lever isn't the same on the inside of the door, but there is a little, like a little switch. Kind of like in porta potties where you go to occupied and unoccupied. You can move that switch, and you're guessing that would release something and allow the door to kind of open. You would still have to put your weight into it to kind of get it to open, but it releases whatever the locking mechanism is. They weren't cruel when they created these. They weren't going to be like, yeah, it's locked from the outside. Figure it out.
Okay. I guess I'll step out. Hey, I think this thing's kind of broken. Or, I don't know, maybe it needs to be operated by a second person?
Briefly look up from the terminal. Or perhaps it needs to be pre-programmed before you step into it?
Oh, yeah, maybe. I turn around and look at a panel. Look for a panel that I could possibly have buttons and switches.
Yeah, so you ran up to it from this side, and you saw what you saw. As you, like, I'm going to circle this thing and find out all of its bits. We're going to cut over to 1218 and Bishop, who are computer-centric. Yas?
Okay.
Are you just poking things?
Seeing what's up.
Yeah. Looking
Alright.
at screens, seeing what they indicate that they are for, and then attempting to access and bypass and all of that fun jazz.
All the things, yes. Alright, so 1218, you kind of are at what seems to be some kind of surveying station. I don't know. It's if you've ever seen like Star Trek, they have the curved up things where there's just monitors and buttons and levers and sound system switches. What is this stuff? You start just kind of poking random stuff. You see certain lights. There are lights above almost every spot along the wall. You see lights both inside from your station. Actually, you see lights on this side all the way to this side. You are in control of. So as you're poking buttons, lights go on, lights go off, lights kind of dim. You see at one point you kind of turn all these lights off on this side and can only see into the far room. And it works kind of like a... You can see through it as if it's regular glass, but there's just some kind of reflection in it that makes you think that no one can see in. You guys, when you were outside of this room, you couldn't see in through the glass. It was just all very like frosted and just privacy glass like. You're guessing that that's kind of what it would look like if somebody was looking in at you right now. But you can see out, and turning off those lights, you can kind of see a little bit better into this area here.
And this is all still the top area that we were already in, right? And this would head down to where the terrariums are, theoretically.
I'm sorry. What? Say that one more time.
Okay, so like we're on the same like we didn't go up or down. We're on the same floor we were like when we walked in. And like theoretically these would head down to where the terrariums are?
Sorry, no. So when you walked in, there was like a platform and then steps going down to this main floor.
Oh, okay.
So
we're in the terrarium area.
Kinda, yeah.
Looking through, like shutting the lights off and being able to look through.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
And looking in there, with your lights off, 1218, you see, it's still well lit in the room. Don't get me wrong, but looking through there are colors that maybe you've never even seen in this world so far, glowing. Yeah. Let's actually show you what you see.
Oh, you want me to?
You see glowing purple and blue. You see just deep blue tints to the room. You see lights on either side. You are looking in. I believe you're looking in from this side here. And you see 4 of the lights that you kind of have seen all around this whole complex. You see the 2 that are nearest to you are already out, but the far 2 are emitting a very subtle yellow light. You see some things that are kind of moving around in there. They're emitting a soft glowing light, like lightning bugs kind of buzzing from flower to flower. The flowers that you do see are just almost radioactive in their pink and purple properties. You see some kind of ground covering that looks vine-like, but is just in a very circular pattern. Kind of looks like bark or roots. You're not quite sure what it is, but...
And is there any information that we could find on the terminal that he's at about what's going on in here?
You do see some readout information that you're looking at. Nothing that you do seems to affect much of anything aside from the lights, though. One of the screens that you're looking at is actually kind of cracked in the middle. Let's go back to the main map here. One of the screens that you're looking at on this side is cracked down the center. The others that you're looking at are giving you temperature readouts. They're giving you like humidity percentage, kind of weather readouts of that. What you're guessing is that room. You don't see any information or any kind of screens like you would at a regular computer terminal. It looks to be just simply a data entry and monitoring kind of station. Oh, and a very fancy light, thing.
Light management system.
And at the very kind of top, it looks like somebody with a very cheap label maker labeled it Experiment 3.
They couldn't be more descriptive, huh?
They
What are
really
you
want to make
saying?
sure they're clear.
I say from across the room as I move towards the cage.
What did you say? Sorry.
I asked from across the room, what's 1218 seeing?
Weather readouts for the terrarium ahead. And lowers the lights a bit so everyone could see in at all the weird Technicolor shenanigans going on in there.
Well, I'll be damned.
And it's nothing we recognize, right? Or
You haven't seen anything like this before, ever. The things that seem to be buzzing around in it, the plants that are in there, the general colors. I mean, there's yellow lights coming from the ceiling. You see the far wall is kind of shrouded, but from the shadow of the lights, you kind of see what looks to be the outline of a door of some kind. So you're guessing there's some other access to this room through some other way. But none of that looks familiar at all.
have any of you encountered any of this?
Have I?
Yeah, have I?
Bishop?
And Julie.
Julie, no. And you've spent a fair amount of time out in the woods hunting things and whatnot. You've seen some pretty lush lands, I would imagine. This is different. You've seen lots of green, shades of green, but never this kind of area of the spectrum, really. Unnatural colors, as far as you're concerned. Bishop, this feels a little familiar to you. Kind of some of the colors that you were seeing inside the tent, and immediately somehow after that mushroom was there.
Oh dear.
I mean, some of this looks a little familiar. But
They're going to be a no for Anders, too?
Anders, though, for the most part, no. Although the little things that are buzzing around, they kind of remind you a little bit of, after you shook that thing and inhaled it into your mouth, and then the little sparkles that you saw around your eyes, they look a little similar.
That room is snorting jet.
And LSD rain.
And mushrooms.
Yeah.
Otherwise known as the fun room.
Oh my
Enclave, not above fun.
All right, so real quick before we break, Bishop, you are at the upright chair. It is not nearly as comfortable as the other two chairs, but they're on the ground, so who cares? This area, this whole desk, compared to the rest, looks a bit cleaner. This terminal that you're sitting at is it is more modern than the one that you were kind of playing on, that you guys dismantled upstairs. There's a blue glow from around it. Now the monitor itself still has the same kind of green kind of display to you. But it just kind of emits this general feeling. It has what looks to be some kind of fancy speakers on the side. It's just a better desk. You're guessing that if there was somebody in charge here, this would be their spot. And when you kind of boot that up, you are shown...
And you might want to look at our Twitch stream here in just a second.
Yep,
as that is where we will have to display.
You see a fairly similar screen. And you see, looking around the desk itself, the tower looks slightly different. It's emitting a little blue glow, but you do see a kind of same floppy disk area that looks to be about the same size as a holotape, kind of towards the top of the tower. You don't find any other holotapes nearby, though.
So by administrator key, is it referring to a holotape type thing, or is it asking essentially for a password again? Because if it's asking for a password, I'm going to try the same password as the other terminal, seeing that it's the same name.
Yeah, you see a blinking prompt at you, and you can try and type whatever you'd like to it. And as far as a response, I think we will end here and see what happens next week with you're entering the same exact thing that got you into the computer that you dismantled, correct?
Yes.
All right. Noted. We'll see where that takes you next week, unless anybody else wants to resolve any one last thing real quick.
I'm just going to take all of the junk that goes in the junk
garbage
slot of the Pip-Boy. The scissors, knife, tape, all that
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, sure. Yeah, that whole
All
kit
of the
is all
medical
yours.
equipment,
I
yes.
thought you were scraping
I
up
will
like the pile of garbage
No,
nearby.
I will be doing the classic Fallout. Every single thing that has a name in it.
You got
shows
it.
up.
Yeah,
What you
and
gonna do with all that junk?
Don't worry about it.
All that junk and yeah.
Inside that pit, boy?
It doesn't quite have the same ring to it.
Where does she store all this stuff? Don't ask questions. Don't worry about it.
Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe go fuck yourself.
that ad campaign didn't go over so well.
Yeah.
Yay, exploring things.
Yay, exploring things.
I'm a little disappointed, Anders. You walked right past your stuffs.
Well, you didn't seem to indicate that there was a frame on it, so...
Well, I mean, he didn't really even glance at it. None of his did, so,
Last thing that happens before I... Well, I guess I kind of want to resolve the pod first. I thought... Yeah. Honestly, I thought there was going to be something in it.
There was nothing really in it, but along one of the sides of it, you do see a glass panel with a keyboard kind of slide out section. It looks to be like
Can it be on this kind of side of the thing?
What kind of... What was that? Yes, that is...
On this side?
Yes, mm-hmm.
And as Anders, turns around and looks at this side of the thing, kind of looks past the side of the thing, and I'll save this for next week. Wait, that's power! That's how you work on power armor! And he runs.
Yeah, looking on that side of the thing, you're like, wow, that's a thing, and something gleams as 1218 strobe lighting it over this way. And you see a frame hanging from the power armor in the corner.
Wait, no. Hold on. There is a power armor frame on. Very simple yes or no question.
Yeah.
Don't let me fucking hanging. Okay.
Oh boy.
All right.
I mean, that's all you see right now.
Yeah, cool. That the first thing I'm going to do when we open this game back up is run the fuck over.
You didn't even press any of the buttons on this thing. Yes, there's a frame here.
Anders has ADHD now. He mutated ADHD now.
Quick question, Julie, are you telling anybody of the things that you're collecting? Like, specifically your locker things?
Not yet.
Okay. Just curious.
I might store some of it in the robot later. Because that seems to be where this party keeps their jet.
Oh, you're putting the jet in the robot?
Not all of it.
I feel like Anders sees you put the telltale inhaler into the robot's chest. It's like, what? Oh, come on.
I'm also going to put a lot of other crap in the robot.
Well, see, all you gotta do is hop into that frame over there and hope it doesn't rip you in half, and then he can put, you can be the robot.
Yeah, just stand next to 1218. Which one?
Give me jet.
Yeah, put it in me. I'm the one who holds things, and try and make a sad face like 1218.
Bishop might actually be able to rig up something for him to do that.
Assuming you can get access to the
auto inhaler.
Computer. That's a great idea. I didn't think about that.
That's what Anders wants on his power armor frame mod. An auto inhaler.
Just add a button.
Unfortunately, after a certain amount of time, he'll just be smashing that button repeatedly as fast as he can.
All right, I think that's where we'll end it for today, lovely people. Yes, there's a frame here. We'll start with Anders running over there. Bishop doing things to a computer. 1218 strobe lighting over there and exploring other things, I'd imagine. And Julie investigating a lump of fur. Or something.
It's or something I'm investigating.
Yes, it's whatever you can shove into your bag.
And then we'll find out if Peyton can make it back with you guys, or if he's going to end up getting, locked out.
Well, you guys did leave a fancy robot up topside with Peyton.
He'll be okay.
Or Ethan, I should say.
He'll be okay.
He'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
Out there.
Only 1/3 of the robot is hostile, so you got good odds.
I mean, I hope Peyton takes a shower real quick, because if he's dirty, that might end up bad.
Oh.
Yep.
Corrosive cleaners.
And 1 shared towel. Blech.
That I have. Still.
And is also still probably covered in blood.
The robot never took it. It just kind of nodded at me.
I mean, she offered it to the robot.
And the robot looked at me appreciatively, but never actually took the towel.
Nice.
So someone just give me a list of all the crap I've been picking up.
Yes.
That is for you to decide, friend. And keep track of.
I don't know. A lot of this has been and other things.
Yeah, actually, Anders, if you put on that power armor, you might be carrying a lot of this stuff. Because I have a feeling, Julie, you're starting to carry a little bit too much stuff. I mean, I don't know. We'll tally it all up.
I'm only at 90
Don't
pounds
make
capacity.
me force you to let me put this power armor on right now. I will go ahead and spend all of my silver on full power. What are they called? Fusions.
You guys have those. People have bought you those already.
Yeah.
Fusion cores.
But we want more.
Wait, who has those, by the way? Who's carrying that? Is that 1218
Probably
too?
1218.
I think 1218 has stuff inside of and affixed to his... It's not a carapace exactly, but...
Somebody got a roll of Velcro and just went crazy.
Well, it was doing good on carrying capacity, and then I picked up 2 pistols, one of which I don't need.
And a bag of miscellaneous.
And a bag of miscellaneous. Yeah, like I said, I've been picking up a lot of and other things.
Yeah, I was super hyped to hear that you picked up an awesome pistol, and then I realized I'm not proficient in that.
I am.
Yeah, but you're not me, so I don't care.
And there's also not a whole lot of ammunition available for it.
There's 18 shots. They do 2d8 damage, though.
Which we can burn through in a single combat if it is particularly nasty.
I suppose that's true.
I also have 32 shots of my rifle left, so I just went up to being pretty good on ammo.
Sweet.
I need more shotgun shells. I'm down to 7.
Well, I mean, it follows logically that if there are small arms in this place, there must be a place where there are small arms in this place.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I already had that thought, and I'm staring at these downstairs going, what could this be?
You keep saying the word arms, and I keep flashing back to the Adventure Zone podcast. And I keep wanting to tear the arms off robots.
At one point, if Anders doesn't beat something to death with its own arms, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I'm putting that power armor on, and we're going to test it. We're going to test this out.
Oh, it was nice knowing you, Julie.
No. We've got a perfectly functional robot outside that I can destroy.
I thought that sentence was going to end with, we have a perfectly functional robot.
Not for long, apparently.
Nope.
Oh, shit.
How would you like to upgrade Bitsworth to a Mr. Gutsy frame?
Oh, I have a dumb question. But when I joined this game, I started myself with 0 experience points, and I think that's wrong.
That's
You
very
should
wrong.
start
It's
at
very
you should
wrong.
start at the base of level 3.
Okay,
900.
that's why y'all are so ahead of me.
Mm-hmm.
So what level are you now?
I'm not any level yet, but I'm way better off than I was, because right now I was at 1675. So I may want to add to that.
Yeah, definitely add to that because you might actually be level 4.
Plus 27,000. That's 4375. No, I'm not going to make it unless he's handing out another 2,000 experience right now.
Well, let's count all the things that you fought as. Oh.
Fuck you.
I mean, I gave you guys a Mr. Gutsy to kill. You guys were like, no.
Do
We're
I
gonna
get
pet it
points
and call
for
it
specifically
names.
finding out that it's a friendly?
I will give my kudos for that to Julie.
Yeah, because now I've got homework to do and a French accent to adopt, which will be interesting.
I will be spending more several to get this robot to give this robot levels.
It's gonna take some time, but I'll watch some videos. It's adorable.
There's a really good video that has the accent and the personality almost in it. Look up the Miss Nancy training grounds. Or the Miss Nanny training ground. I think I could find it.
Noted. Yeah, she's cute and all.
Found it. Linking.
Oh yeah, that's like very clear and very well put together examples of this accent.
Mm-hmm. And personality.
All right. So
I would like to give Anders my kudos for the whole running out of the showers with nothing but a baseball bat. $10 it the entire way.
Yeah, I know he made a joke about it previously, but he's got nothing.
I am saying, where's my character sheet? 4375 plus all that experience.
All right. Any other kudos before we cut off the stream? Because there's some evil to be done later this evening, I think.
I forget
There's
what
supposed to be.
does.
There is supposed
Extra
to be.
XP.
Damn, I'm so close.
Going once. Going twice. Thank you all for a good evening.
See you all in like 40 minutes.
Yeah, see some people in the next 40 minutes. Bye.
Bye.